Country Park and we're going to have a word with a couple of my friends who've become Christians and find out how they felt about it. So Alex, tell me, can you think of a specific experience in your life where you've seen God move?
Yeah, there was one point when my friend was hit by a car and it was really hard for her, and God really helped lead me through that and look after me through that.
When my brother was really little, he got pushed in front of a car. He came out of it with no bruises, nothing. He was absolutely fine, and I really felt to this day that was God. So Jamie, you were there on the same day. How did that affect you?
Well, I was kind of very shaken. I was just pushing him along, and then he kind of flew off in front of a car. That whole day I was so worried for my brother. I didn't know what happened to him, and then the next day I found out he was totally fine.
What was the most trying experience that you've had during your Christian walk?
I've had quite a few in my life. I think one of the most challenging so far has been because my parents divorced when I was young. It's been a huge amount of unforgiveness with me and my father, and he'd been married recently, and I had to meet his new family. And that was really challenging. It was a grueling experience for me. I had to forgive them. I've just learnt to love them since then, and I've known how God's really blessed me through that. That God can use anything for good.
What was your life like before you met Jesus?
Well, basically I was into all kinds of bad stuff. And I wasn't just one of those people who had like a hard life or anything. I was the person who was actually doing bad stuff. So I really thought that Christianity wasn't for me because I was doing all this wrong stuff and I didn't realise that I could possibly be loved by God when I was doing this bad kind of stuff.
Well, when I first became a Christian, I would say I was rather lukewarm. I thought like I was really going for God and I was fired up on God, but then it became rather, I didn't speak about it much, I didn't talk to my friends about it much, but as I continued to go to church and bonding with my Christian friends, I really grew in it.
Rosie, when was the first time you met the Holy Spirit? How did it happen?
Well, I was at a camp called Stoney when I was really little. I think I was about 8 years old, and I was just so, encased in the Holy Spirit. I was stood there for, 3 hours or something. By the time I opened my eyes, everyone else in the tent had gone.
Well, the first time I actually fully said to myself, I want to make a commitment to God. I want to live my life with Jesus. One of my friends, Megan Chick, had actually prayed for me, and she was next to me, like in tears. And I was a bit like, oh my goodness, what is happening? But as I went home and I got in the car with my mom, I just sensed something so different.
Well, I was brought up in a Christian family, but I never really kind of understood the meaning of God. But then it came to a Christian holiday camp that I went to in 2006 called New Day, and I went up front to be prayed for, and I think that was probably the threshold when I first became a Christian.
How do you use the Bible? What do you think of it?
Well, I sort of try to read the Bible as much as possible. It's got really good stuff in it. A lot of people sort of just think it's a list of rules and regulations of what you can and can't do as a Christian. But it's actually got a really load of good stuff in there. It's got loads of stories. It's just so good to inspire you. Like my favourite book of the Bible is 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy. They're just such good inspiration about leadership and that sort of thing.
Well, at first, because I went on the youth alpha course, I kind of thought the Bible was a bit for old people, but when I heard the youth alpha talk, they actually addressed that point exactly. I find it so helpful with just issues of life and things about my future and stuff. But I think my absolute favourite book of the Bible would probably be Philippians. It's a long word, it's a long name, but it's very good and it's got some really great points in it.
Oh, I love the Bible. I know everybody talks about how old-fashioned it is, but honestly, when you actually start reading the Bible, there's some books in the Bible that are all about war and death and bloodshed, and then there's some that are all about love and sex and marriage, and there's some that are all about, just really amazing stories in the Bible. I love Ruth. There's such a good story in the Bible. I just love that story about how this non-Christian girl was just redeemed by God.
Well, I guess the overall theme of the Bible really is Jesus. It's a huge, great big love story. The fact that we were sinners because we rebelled against God. He created us in such love, and He's an incredible, amazing God. And we turn from Him, and the whole story of the Bible is love, and how there's so many stories about how much people just messed up. I mean, Noah got drunk and passed out in his tent after building an ark. you've got everyone apart from Jesus who messes up again and again, and Jesus comes into the situation. He dies on the cross to sort of save us from our sin, to rescue us from all the mess we created, and just to bring us into this whole new life of just worshipping Jesus. And it really is all about Jesus.
So, Gaz, how does the earth reflect the glory of God?
I think to answer that question, you genuinely just need to look around you. I can stand on this little ledge here that I'm getting absolutely soaked on. And I've stood on top of a mountain and just looked down, and you just sort of think, how can this be an accident?
What do you think of prayer, and does it work?
Well, yes, absolutely, it does work. I've seen many occasions where my family has been in real times of trouble and difficulty, and I've really pressed through with God. I've persevered in my prayer life, and I mean, it's difficult at first, yes, of course. I found it really difficult to get into. When I first became a Christian, it was like I was praying to the roof, like I was praying to the walls, like nothing was hearing me. And then as I got closer to God, as the Holy Spirit came upon me and stuff, it got a lot easier.
Some people think that you should just go, you can only pray at church, but I think you can pray anywhere and any time, and that I think it's the way of talking to God. Alright, so this is goodbye from us at Royal Victoria Park. We hope this has answered some of your questions, and we'll see you on Sunday the 13th in the evening at Botley Church. Woo! Woo! Amen!
So Ben, what do you think of God? Legend. That's pretty much it.